Amelia Frances Wood and I'm a sculptor based in Leeds. This is my studio in Assembly House and I'm part of the Sculpture Network. When I first got into clay, it was at uni when I'd feel a bit stuck with a few things that I was doing. So it was like a kind of getting back in touch with my practice. I'd just go to the ceramic room and I started making pots. And it was just, at the time, just something to do with my hands and like a way to be creative. But I kind of fell in love with the process and the act of getting my hands like dirty. And it was like, you know, time would be lost in that process. And then I started like looking into the complexity of the vessel because I thought the actual object is really interesting, how there's like an outside, it's full but it's empty. And then I started making more stuff to do with that, or like taking the vessel and making like different little things that could kind of be seen as like domestic but also are sculptural in themselves. And then also like I like the material clay just because it like holds a memory in it. It's like a memory of like our ancestors on the earth, and it comes from the earth. It's like a processed material. I've always been drawn to using quite natural materials and found materials, and always being quite not frugal but kind of using every part of something, which I think comes from like my roots in like gardening and farming. You kind of, you know, if you grow a vegetable you want to get the most out of it. I'm really obsessed with like the hand of the maker, so I like when looking at work or when I'm doing work to see like the visible handprint in some of the works. It's like seeing the connection with a piece of material that you've had, or kind of like maybe just a symbol of the hands as well, because it's familiar, everyone has it. I think sometimes when I put figures in a space, it's like extensions of my own body in that space and how people are acting around that, or how, you know, the audience walks around it. I think then with the vessel, sometimes when you make it really big, it's almost like something was in it and it's departed. It's like empty or been left. So I think also with the figures in space, it's kind of interesting to see them as like skins or shells. So again, that something was there but it isn't anymore. And I also think that's quite nice to like link in the features of the body, that they're there but they're quiet, they're kind of left. And like the audience kind of has to activate them by coming into the space. Someone said that they kind of got like a theatrical vibe to some of my works, and I agree, like especially the sort of the heads that are side on, as a, kind of like that. It's like almost like curtains or something like a prop in the stage or like the set. But I was kind of like, a lot of my work is also, although it's kind of intuitive, so it's whatever I'm thinking or feeling at that time, and a lot of my dreams kind of like seep into that. And I think dreams are kind of like quite theatrical and set up with this stage and a setting, so that kind of like seeps in a lot. It kind of reminds me of like, especially with the red, like the Twin Peaks in the red room and stuff like that. I just find really interesting. Yes, I run weekly live drawing sessions, again because I love to study the figure and it's a recurring theme that comes into my work. And I think as well, I like to run workshops to make sure that you don't have to have an arts education to find art accessible and like, you know, do these workshops. So I wanted to start running some clay ones, and Assembly House are putting on a sculpture trail. So I'm working with Armley Helping Hands, and we're working on hopefully a series of sculptures. So we've been working on some tiles with Armley Helping Hands, and the theme of the tiles, we were trying to think about memories and past times of like Armley growing up. We did a little exercise to chat about things we remember when we were younger, like favourite sweets or certain furniture in the house or favourite flowers. And making a tile, I thought that was quite nice to just, I mean, this person's put like imprints into it and then made a little rose, and some people have written specific things about Armley or their lives that they can then kind of like set in stone and be fired and painted. And then hopefully at the end of these workshop processes, I can make a sculpture to sort of encompass all these ideas that will be up in Armley for 3 months in August.